Hey Dee, so today I was hoping to talk about my elementary school. Not the one that I graduated from, my first elementary school, which actually also turns out to be my, I guess you would say, the one that I went to daycare, because technically I had been there since maybe I was like 9 months old, probably. The thing that I'm sure that you do know about that school is the fact that we used el sistema de las lecas and that it was a Christian school. I'm sure that's all you knew. And for those of you who don't know, lecas are a system where it's like magazines, and you would, it's like a booklet, it's like a little work booklet, and you would have one for math, for English, and I don't really remember if you had one for Spanish, since for Spanish class is the only class that at least I had an actual textbook for. Every other class did not have a textbook. You would either listen to what the teacher said on the board or you would do what your booklet did. And I remember that for the longest time, I would think that lecas was like a slang because I would tell other people the word and they wouldn't really understand what I was saying. They'd be like, what the fuck is that? Lecas? Like, I don't know what that is. So I thought it was just like a thing that my school did, like just randomly. And but then you also went through it, so you finally made me feel like I wasn't alone in the world. But like, I don't know if you learned much with that system, but I definitely know that I didn't. For example, it didn't teach me anything academically. Not truly, not where it really counted. The things that I can remember it teaching me were basic arithmetica, obvious comprehension of subject and predicate in Spanish, certain English exercises in las lecas, and that's it. I don't really remember if they would have gotten to teach you more, since I was taken out of the school when I was ending third grade. Like at the end of third grade is when I left that school. So I guess I didn't really take any official classes, you would say. Not necessarily like official, but necessary. O sea, like, no necesariamente me enseñaron cosas, because the only academic things that I remember learning is figuring out fill in the blanks. For example, in my English leca or booklet, most of the exercises there would be vocabulary related. So you would have your basic standard testing, so you would have like a story, and then you have a fill in the blanks, or you would have un escoge, or things like that. And at the end, you had 30 words that you either had to... He's just getting comfortable in the back. You would have 30 words that you would either dictate to the teacher, I don't really remember, or you would spell out. So you either had to memorize 30 words or you had to memorize the spelling of 30 words. But it was probably the spelling of 30 words because, that doesn't really seem logical. And I remember the day in third grade where it clicked for me, I guess you could say the cheat, like key to figuring out the fill in the blanks. Because you would have a story and then you would have a fill in the blank at the bottom. And I found out that the fill in the blanks, like the sentence, was the exact same sentence that was in the story. So you didn't have to read the bullshit story. You just had to find the same sentence and look for the word. And, like, I felt like such a mad genius when I found that out. That's one memory of, like, teaching things in that school. And the second memory would have to be where, this was also in the 3rd grade, where I was, Peregrina. I was playing Peregrina down the hallway to the that I was on my way to the bathroom. And I remember thinking, because someone had told me that, like, oh, if you don't know your multiplication tables by now, you're going to be fucked. Because the 4th grade teacher was notorious for giving, like, 50 exercise exams, like, a multiplication quiz, but with 50 exercises on it, and you only had, like, 10 minutes to do it. So if you didn't know your multiplication tables, you were fucked in the exam. And I was like, oh, I better learn them now, because if not, I'm going to get raped by this fucking teacher in 4th grade. So I remember every time I would go down to the bathroom, the floor was tiled, so I would play Peregrina on my way to the bathroom. And as I was playing Peregrina, I would do multiplication tables. So I would be 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, and so on and so forth, until I got to the bathroom and on my way back. So, yeah. Another weird memory that I have from that school would be back in pre-kinder. Like in this was pre-kindergarten. And I've been told that I have a good memory just because I remember these things. But honestly, how could I forget these things? Honestly, like, how could I forget this? So the time and place is that I was in the pre-K classroom, and they had a section with a TV where there was, like, this little furniture, you know, the type of furniture that they sell at Costco for little kids. It's like a miniature version of like regular furniture, but it's like kid size. That's what it's for. They had, like, a set of that, and I was in this, like, chair, like in this, like, a big chair, that looks like a. I was in this big chair, and I'm watching this movie, and this kid comes over to me that's in my class, and he sits on the armrest, like right next to me, and he sits on the armrest, and he puts his arm over me, and he says, Adriana, ¿tú quieres ser mi esposa? And I'm like, excuse me? I'm just this little kid. I'm just trying to watch whatever movie I was watching, probably some Bratz or Barbie movie. I don't know, whatever I was into. I'm just minding my own business, and this kid is asking me to marry him. I didn't really like this kid. Like, he was very loud, and he was always interrupt the class, and I guess you could say he was like the class clown. And he was kind of popular because his dad was a local Christian musician. And he, like, the dad was known to participate a lot in the school activities and donate a lot to the school. So he was kind of like that student. And I didn't really like him because he was loud and he was like a class clown, and he would interrupt the class a lot. And he would, like, because of him, we would all get corporal punishment, which I fucking hate. So him asking me to marry him was, like, really out of the blue for me. So I just, like, I just stared dead ahead and did not, like, look at him. He took that as a yes, because he was like, I see, and he kissed me in the cheek, and he ran off to tell his friends. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't want to be somebody's bride. Like, I don't want to be married to this kid. So, sorry to tell you, Dee, but I've been married for the past 17 years. uh, yes. um, I wonder where he is now. So, I'm not even married, Dee. I was left. I didn't even get the divorce papers. He just left me. Bueno, no, I left him because I'm the one that left the school. um, so yeah, have that in pre-K. I have this very wild story that I think was either in the first or second grade. And you remember that, like, back in, like, elementary / middle school, you would have this, like, study program in the afternoons, Título Uno. Like, in the high school that I'm in now, Título Uno is kind of reviewed as, like, a special aid type, but in that school that I was in at the time, Título Uno was more of, like, like a daycare, or, like, aftercare, but after school. So, Título Uno for me was more of, like, yeah, so if your parents are coming later, like at 4 or 3, then we'll watch your kid for you. Except I was there till like 5 or 6. So, like, I would often be there longer than the actual teachers de Título Uno. But one of these days, I was in those, like, benches, like those picnic benches, the gray ones that they have in schools. And I was hunched over, like, the table. I was on my knees on the bench, and I was hunched over on the table. I was probably coloring or something, and I'm with this girl. And suddenly, I feel something stab me in the back. Literal, stab. And it's because a girl from kindergarten, or pre-kinder, I don't know, probably kindergarten, stabbed me square in my spinal cord in the center of my back with a mechanical pencil. And I don't remember this girl very much. I just remember she was blonde con rizos, with, like, really, like, curly hair, American Horror Story type. And because I had the weird jumper thing down, like the jumper that you had to wear to schools, I had that down and tucked away in my skirt, so I only had the shirt to, like, protect me. So it went right through the shirt and into my skin. And I remember when I, like, straightened my back, it kind of stayed dangling there. So my friend that was with me, like, yelled at the girl to go away. The girl kicked her in the chin. Not like this chin. Like in her heel. No, not her heel. El tobillo. She kicked her in el tobillo. Ankle. Goddamn, I forgot. She kicked her in the ankle. And well, she got, like, she kind of bent down a little bit, like she had to take a knee. she had to take a knee because I'm guessing it felt like a razor blade scooter to the ankle, so it must have hurt. And the girl just went off laughing. So my friend went to my back and she pulled out the pencil, but, like, the la punta, like the graphite stick thingy, snapped. So one of these days you're gonna have to check if it's still back there, because I don't know. And not gonna lie, as I'm telling the story, I'm kind of, like, feeling conscious about my back right now. Because, like, that shit hurted, bro. Like, I still feel it a little. Like, I don't feel la punta, but I, like, feel, like, the stabbing a little, because it's just traumatized me for life. Is that, like, a literal formation of trust issues? Because, like, you know that you say metaphorically that you got stabbed in the back, but I literally got stabbed in the back. Does that mean that that's, like, my literal source of trust issues? That's kind of fucked up, little girl. You gave me, like, issues for the rest of my life. How dare you? You didn't even know me, I think. I don't know. Apparently I made a lot of enemies in elementary school, so I can't really say. Not for certain. I think I have enough time for another story. So, another story would be that my school was incredibly stereotypical in the sense that girls sticked with girls and their Barbie dolls, and guys sticked with guys and their Power Ranger figures. But little old me really liked Hot Wheel cars and Beyblades and playing canica or marble or whatever the fuck. Except that in my school we didn't really play marble how you're supposed to play it. We didn't draw a circle in the sand because we didn't have sand. And no, we didn't have dirt either. Our little recess area was a parking lot full of cement. Well, it wasn't even cement, actually. It was like road, like with rocks and gravel in it. So I lost a lot of my skin to that road. Well, not you understand what I mean. Like I would I remember literally this time that I fell and like it scraped all the way to my knee to the middle of my leg of like my batata, but on the front, like to the middle of my leg. And I remember looking back and seeing, but where's my skin? Where did it go? Maybe I can tape it back? Like, I didn't really understand how skin worked. I didn't understand that it would tear. I just thought that it meant that it was like peeled back and you lost it somewhere in the ground. So that's where we would play. And all we had for entertainment was a tree to climb, some makeshift soccer goals, and una calpa that had tables underneath. And within one of these calpas, there was always guys there with their little Beyblade plastic rink. I don't know if you remember that, but it was this cheap ass rink made of plastic and stickers on it that I'm 100% sure was sold way overpriced than it should have been. But all of the guys would gather around with their Beyblades and they would let it rip. And they would like have little tournaments. And the thing is that we were kind of savage. I think. I'm not really sure if this is savage. But what we would do is that if you entered these tournaments, you would either win or lose. But you would, in a way where you had to give something. Meaning that before you actually played the game, you had to set the stakes. So if I had a Beyblade with like the icy armor on top, that's like the one that I had mainly. The icy armor on top with spikes. You had to say, if I lose, you get the spikes around my Beyblade. And the other person would say, well, if I lose, you get the rip mechanism thing that like does it faster or something. Like you had to set the stakes of what you would lose. And if you lost, well, you had to give it up. And the only way that you could get it back is that if you fought for it. But again, you had to put something. So it was either all or nothing. And I remember that my parents wouldn't really buy me boy toys. And the boys in my family, like my cousins, wouldn't play with Beyblades. They would only play with Power Ranger action figures and Mortal Kombat action figures. I've seen more of Sub-Zero like dolls in my grandma's house than I can possibly count. But they didn't really have any Beyblades. So I had to I didn't steal one. I found one on the floor. So I found a red and blue one, and I slowly built it up. So I would only play with the guys in my class, because the guys in other classes wouldn't really play with me, because I was a girl. But the guys in my class would let me play, because if we were all in the classroom and we were bored, they would let us, like, play. Sometimes, not always. So I slowly, gained armor for my Beyblade, and eventually some of the guys in my class would vouch for me to play in these Beyblade tournaments. And I remember my best friend at the time named Gabriella with double L. Gabriella with double L would ask me, why are you playing with the guys? Don't you like want to play with us? And I'm like, yeah, sometimes, but I also like to play Beyblades, and you guys don't play Beyblades, so what am I supposed to do? So I would sometimes play with girls, and sometimes I would play with guys, and that confused people in my school a lot, because they were really strict about the whole girls with girls, guys with guys thing, which is really weird. But so I would like play with the guys' Beyblades, and I remember that the majority of them were sore losers, especially when they would lose to a girl, and they would refuse to give up their armor. Like, the armor that they had put in stakes, they would refuse to give it up. And I would be so pissed off. And no one would really vouch for me, because, like, sure, the guys in my class would vouch for me to play, but they wouldn't really go so far as to, like, fight for me. So I didn't really have anything. I couldn't throw a punch. I was small, and, like, I was kind of, like, small and squishy, so there was nothing firm in my body. So I couldn't really hit them. I couldn't really start a fight. I couldn't yell at them either, because I was kind of quiet at the time. So what I would do is that I would just be like, well, fine, whatever, you can keep your piece. Like, I'm already good with my armor. And I would play it off that, like, I don't really care. But it would rage me inside, Deedee. Like, you have no idea. I'll be so angry, because we would put the stakes, and if I lost, they would, like, all of them would just gang up on me. Not the guys from my class, but, like the friends from whoever I was competing with. They would immediately, like, start ganging up on me, like, hey, give it up, give up the piece, you lost fair and square, like, you lost, bro, like, you lost, give it up. And I would be so fucking pissed off, because they wouldn't do that when, well, of course they wouldn't, but, like, I would lose, and the guy would lose, and no one would say anything. They should be like, hey, give it up or move, because we want to play. And he wouldn't give it up, so they would just, like, give back our Beyblades, and they would start another round. And I was so fucking pissed off. Ugh. I kind of went over my time limit. This is what happens when I don't have a script for these type of talks. But, well, I hope you enjoyed my stories. Throughout this whole thing, I've been drawing me as a kid, as a little 4-year-old, with my cute little pigtails and my coloring book, because I would always carry around a coloring book with a 64 Crayola pack, if you remember those. Oh, those packs that had, like, the sharpener in the back, but sometimes the sharpener would go a little bit too deep in the box, so you had to, like, put pressure on the cardboard to meet the sharpener in it, and you had to, like, sharpen your Crayola sometimes. Damn, I kind of miss that. I would always carry around a coloring book, and my mom would always do pigtails on me with bows, and I had, like, I had a collar bow, and I had socks with little trims on it. I don't fucking know. But I looked really cute. I'll put at the end, I'll put a reference picture, the reference picture I was using for this, so you can, like, compare. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will hopefully see you soon. Dee, love you, miss you, bye.
Yep.
So we are B&B. I'm Deedee.
Wait, Deedee.